Welcome to the first part of the Advent of Code prep series. In this series, we'll be diving deep into the world of Advent of Code and the annual coding challenge. But before we start, let's get to the basics. So what exactly is Advent of Code? Think of it like an advent calendar, but instead of getting chocolates, you get small programming problems. These puzzles are released once every year, once per day, starting on December 1st. If you've ever heard of software engineering interview prep, it's kind of like that. If you haven't, think of it as like programming Wordle during Christmas time. Here's how it works. Every day, people around the world get the same programming challenge with a different input. The challenge is to solve the problem as quick as possible. Unlike many software engineering interview questions, you're not judged on your solution's time or space complexity, nor are you locked into a programming language. Instead, you are purely judged on how fast you can solve the problem. People tackle these problems with all sorts of tools, from IDEs to Excel sheets to even pen and paper. Each day's challenge consists of two parts. The first part is the main problem to solve, and the second part builds upon the first. This structure allows you to think creatively as well as build upon your previous solution. As we go through the days, the puzzles get progressively more challenging. Day one might be something like string manipulation or array manipulation or something like that. But by the time we get to day 21, we'll be taking on more complex and cryptic challenges. Whether you're a seasoned developer or just starting out, it's a great way to learn, practice, and improve your coding abilities. All right, let's get into the first problem. Basically, you log in with your GitHub and it tracks how many problems you've solved and your score. This is 2020's problem, and we're going to start on day one. This is just the explanation on how the scoring is. So right here is the actual problem. Specifically, they need you to find the two entries that sum to 2020 and then multiply those two numbers together. For example, suppose your expense report contained the following, and then it gives a sample input. In this list, the two entries that sum to 2020 are 1721 and 299. Multiplying them together produces 1721 times 299 equals... So the correct answer is that big number. Of course, your expense report is much larger. Find the two entries that sum to 2020. What do you get if you multiply them together? To begin, get your puzzle input. And just to show you, this is my input right here. So it is pretty long. There's a lot of numbers. So let's go get started. So I just have a basic project set up here that's ready for TypeScript. So first thing I'm going to do is make a txt file with all of this. Oh. So it'll have all of this. All right, so that's what it looks like. This is going to be all the dates. So let's go brush up on the problem. So what do we have to do? Two entries that sum to 2020. So I'm thinking that we have a for loop that iterates over the array, summing up this with this. But that's really inefficient. But just for the lols, we're gonna do it. So yeah, we can thank you, Copilot. So then we can compare. Uh-oh, I don't want Copilot to spoil it. Okay. What we can do is that we can compare this number to this, see if it adds up, this number to this, see if it adds up, this number to this. So we can do a nested for loop. We can do for let j equals 0, or let j equals I. Well, I'm not going to look at that solution. No. Stop spoiling it. No, stop spoiling it. Well, j is less than words not length. No. Okay. So this for loop would iterate through all of the elements. This for loop would iterate to the element after. Okay. And then we can go if words I plus words j equals 2020. Oh, that's a spoiler alert. Okay, so that's what array of strings. So we can just map it. So can we say red, we can say const numbers equals red add. Oh, there. Thank you, Copilot. As I said, Advent of Code, you can use basically anything to solve a solution. I'm using TypeScript to solve it, even though it's giving me really hard type errors to work around, but I really want to dive deep into the language, so that's what I'm doing. So that's why we have all these type checks here. So this is the solution. Read file sync plus split and toString gives a string array. I have to parse it into a number array, so that's what this is doing here, into numbers. What this is doing is checking if numbers is null, so TypeScript isn't mad, even though I'm pretty sure I could go like this. What this is doing, it's a double for loop. We check the first element, and then we compare it to the second element. Then we check the first element, compare it with the third, first, then. We just keep on repeating that pattern. And then with the second element, we keep on going again, and we just keep on doing it. Super inefficient, but it gets us this answer. And let's see if I'm correct. Awesome. So yeah, so as I said, there's two parts to the problem. So let's go to part 2. Part 2. The elves in accounting are thankful for your help. One of them even offers you a starfish coin they had left over from a past vacation. They offer you a second one if you can find 3 numbers in your expense report that meet the same criteria. Using the above example again, the 3 entries that sum to 2020 are 979, 366, and 675. Multiplying them together produces the answer, really big number. In your expense report, what is the product of the 3 entries that sum up to 2020? So this is going to get a little bit worse. At first, what I'm thinking is that we do the same thing, but instead of comparing first and second to third, we can go like, we can introduce another for loop, which would be O of n cubed. But I'm thinking of a way to do this. Let me think for a second. Okay, so what I'm thinking right now is that I'm just going to do a third for loop and do the same thing to see if we get the answer. Okay, so this is the first thing I came up with. So basically what it's doing is it'll take these 2 numbers, right? It'll take this number, and then it'll take the third number here. It'll add them all up. If they equal 2020, it'll go to the second one. It'll take this number, and this number, add it to this one. Then if that's not it, this one and this one, add it to this one, so on and so forth. And once we get to the end, we'll go to this plus this plus this, and then, we'll keep on iterating basically. So super inefficient, but let's see. Oh, fuck. No elements found. JK. Oh, it's supposed to be plus 2. Oh, it's 2. Oh, okay. Okay. Basically what it's doing is we're taking a for loop and we're stopping at the third to last element, second to last element, and the last element, and we're doing that adding. And this is what we got right here. So let's see. First try. Awesome. Super inefficient. O of n cubed, which means that in the worst possible case, this will iterate through the list 3 times its length, which is really bad, really sucks, but it's the most concise solution that I got. So yeah, awesome. We're done with day 1. As you can see here, it fills out with something cool. 2 stars indicate that I solved the first part and the second part. As you've seen, that is what Advent of Code is. I'm going to do 2020s. Probably day 1 through day whatever until it takes me an absurd amount to solve. Then after that, we'll go to 2021. We'll start day 1 again. And then 2022, start day 1 again. Hopefully, I can keep this going. By December 1st, 2023, I'll be ready to take on Advent of Code. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it or if you had a better solution or any critiques that you had for me. TypeScript is definitely not the best language to do this in because you have to do all sorts of type guards and type checks. Usually you'd probably want to do this in Python or just plain JavaScript, just like a basic scripting language that you don't really have to worry about types with. But yeah, I'm doing it with TypeScript. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. Join the Discord if you want to talk to me more because I'm more than happy to discuss anything programming related. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one.